When you first start playing No Man's Sky, the number one most important thing you need to do is make money. And we have other videos that show you how to make money and how to make nanites and how to grind your way to success. But today's video is going to be a little bit more controversial because I'm going to show you how to clone your way to riches. There are a number of videos out there about how to build yourself a farm or stasis device. But the truth of the matter is that as a new player, that's going to take you a really long time. And your objective is probably different. You want to get past the money portion so that you can start actually playing the game. In order to make a stasis device, you need to unlock a ton of other things. Basically everything on this page. And everything on this page costs 250 nanites. There are 31 items, which means we need to come up with 7,750 nanites to get all of the recipes that we need. After completing the Corvette expedition, I have 5,368, but I'm gonna show you how you can do this if you had 0. I'm gonna come back over to my Corvette and we are gonna go down to a planet and look for some goop. Could be living slime, could be some runaway mold. We don't actually care. We just need to get it to the runaway mold state. This save game literally exists just for having done the Corvette expedition. So I'm still in that same system and I'm just gonna pick a random planet. We're gonna go down, we're gonna fly around, we're gonna find what we're looking for. If you are in a Corvette, the easiest thing to do is just get out while having the autopilot maintain the current flight path, and then look around until you find damaged machinery. This might have rusted metal on it, but if we're lucky, it'll have some sort of living bioorganism. And we are lucky, we got viscous fluids. That's all we need. Not very many viscous fluids. That was 58. Back inside my ship, I'm going to drop a portable refiner. Doesn't matter where. We actually need to be able to make 2 of these. So let me just check really quick if I have enough materials to make a second one. I need some metal plating. Go ahead and make that. Now we can make a second refiner. Here in our portable refiner, we are going to refine the goop we just found into runaway mold. There it is. And looks like we need some carbon. Now that we have carbon, we can charge the refiner and set it on its mission. We'll come back when this is done. We'll repeat that with the living slime to give us 56 runaway mold. Now, before we turn this into nanites, we're gonna do something that many of you will not agree with, and that's fine. We're not here to tell you whether you should or should not do the things that make you uncomfortable or comfortable. We're just here to give you information. We can't do it on a Corvette because it becomes part of the Corvette. So let's instead come out here and we'll do it as not part of the Corvette. All right, portable refiner. Radiation protection. Load it up with the runaway mold. Second portable refiner on top and a little bit in front. And then we're just gonna pick them both up. And if you notice, we now have 224 runaway mold. We're gonna repeat this. Quick fill, exit, portable refiner, deploy, and pick them both up. Welcome to exponential duplication. We're gonna keep doing this until we have enough runaway mold that we can refine it into nanites to get the 7,750 nanites that we need. Because runaway mold refines into nanites at a rate of 5:1, that means we need a minimum of 38,750 runaway mold, or 4 stacks. And that seems like a lot, but we're dealing with exponential stuff. We'll have that in under a minute. When we get to having stacks that are 9,999 in size, that's fine, because we just need to do that 4 times, and we will have all of the materials that we need. In fact, when you get to the point where you're cloning max stacks, you don't even have to pick up the second refiner. What you can do is place your stack, place your second refiner, pick up the second refiner, you get your 9999, and then all you have to do is look in the first refiner again and place a second refiner on top of it. All right, at this point, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 complete stacks of runaway mold, plus an additional 4,300. What I recommend is that you take one of these stacks and stash it somewhere so that the next time you need a crap ton of nanites, well, you can just clone this 4 times and you are on your way. Now, refining this many pieces of runaway mold is going to take a while. In a single refiner, you can see that we're talking 20 minutes to make 2,000 nanites. So if you wanted 10,000 nanites, well, that's either 20 minutes times 5, or it's many refiners. You can go to a base and you can set up a bunch of medium refiners and you can just do all of these in parallel, but you're not gonna get it to go faster than 20 minutes per 2,000 nanites. So what if we could do this a little bit differently? You can actually clone anything. So for example, larval cores will refine into nanites extremely fast and at a much higher rate. Granted, you can only hold 10 of them in a stack, so you'll need a few more inventory slots to hold them. But instead of 38,750 pieces of runaway mold, well, now you only need 775 larval cores. If you completed the Corvette expedition, or if you've done any kind of derelict freighter mission, then you have tainted metal. Unlike modules, which can't go into a refiner because they don't show up at all, tainted metal also refines into nanites. Now, it's not crazy fast. It's a 1 to 2. It's still going to take you 5+ minutes, but you will get a lot more nanites out of it than you will just processing runaway mold. So we'll do the same thing. We'll get that up to full-size stacks, and then we'll set it off to do its thing and come back when it's done. Because the maximum output is 4,095 units, it's actually 0 indexed, so it's 4,096 as they're counting it, but you get 4,095 things out of it. A stack of 9,999 pieces of tainted metal will make 19,998 nanites, but it's going to take you 5 times of running it through the refiner, restarting it when it stopped, pulling the nanites out. But it'll do that in 12 minutes, and you will get your full 19,998 in approximately 60 minutes. Depending on where you are in your game life, you might have medium or large refiners, you might have a freighter on which you can do this, or you might just be stuck with portable refiners. But whatever you've got, go make yourself some nanites and meet me back on the anomaly. Here at the synthesis laboratory, we are going to just start buying everything. If you want to be more particular, you could go in and actually purchase down to the stasis device and come in here and say that you want to craft the stasis device and look at the craft steps, and it'll show you the last of the items that you need. So if you just want to buy those items, you can, but honestly, you have the nanites to buy everything. Congratulations! You are now the proud owner of everything. In order to make a stasis device, we still need to find a lot of materials. We're going to start down at the bottom with sulfurine, condensed carbon, nitrogen, radon, and we will work our way up from there. But the full list of everything that you need is quite comprehensive. Rather than building giant farms to make all of this stuff and then go around and collect it, you know what we're gonna do. Let's start with sulfurine. Sulfurine is going to be the most challenging item to find, and you have some options. One of them is to go get some salvage data and come down here and purchase the atmosphere harvester, and then go to a barren or a desert planet where you should be able to collect sulfurine from the atmosphere. In order to do that, we need an additional 3 salvaged data. We'll also need to find some ammonia to craft it. The system that we are in just happens to have a charred planet, the kind of planet where sulfurine should exist. So we're going to head there. Our objective for this planet is just to grab some berry technology modules so that we can go back and get our upgrades to make the atmosphere harvester. And back out in space, summon the anomaly, and pick up all of our blueprints. In order to build the harvester, we actually need some ammonia. And while we can run around and try to find it, we can also make it from paraffinium and ferrite dust. You can have 3 atmosphere harvesters per planet. We only need 1 because we have magical powers, but we do need the ingredients. So let's head over to Gojo 28G5 and grab us some paraffinium, which we also need for the stasis device. Oh, and it looks like our paraffinium deposit is underwater. Not a problem. Barely an inconvenience. Now that we have paraffinium, we can make ammonia. And in order to do this, you will need a refiner with at least 2 inputs. And of course, we don't need a lot of ammonia. We just need enough to do what we need to do. If we want to make 3 atmosphere harvesters, we're going to need 300 ammonia. We can get by with just 100. I want to deploy an atmosphere harvester. And this will begin collecting sulfurine as soon as we give it some fuel. We've already got 1, 2, we're well on our way. Sulfurine refines into radon. We need 500 radon, so we're actually going to make another 1,500 sulfurine so that we can refine it and not have to go and search for that element. We now have all of our sulfurine, so we will just start refining that into radon in one of the refiner units in the Corvette while we move on to collecting other elements. One of the other ingredients that we need is selenium, and selenium is relatively rare even on the desert planets where it exists. But one of the things that we can do is simply refine sulfurine and dihydrogen, very common, into selenium, and then clone that for as many as we need. Meanwhile, the nanite refining is continuing, and at this point I am up to 32,000 nanites after already spending the 7,000. And now we have our 200 selenium. So we're just gonna grab some star bulb and then clone that. All right, we were able to get 69 of them, and we need 200. So that'll be a quick clone. I want to go ahead and grab the rest of the plants, one of which is frost crystal. We should be able to get that over here on Also. This is quite a turbulent planet.
Extreme temperature detected.
We only need 300 frost crystals. Since we already have 230, this will also be a very quick clone. And while we're here, let's also grab some of that dioxide. Now that we have dioxide, we will use that with ferrite dust to get some phosphorus. And in this case, we only need 50 phosphorus, so we'll just wait for that to finish and we will stop it. We still need cactus flesh and gamma root, and we can get gamma root over here on Sosinsun. So we need 400 gamma root, and if we're lucky, we'll just get it all from this big patch that we just happened to land on. 621, awesome. That just leaves cactus flesh. We can actually make cactus flesh from pyrite and sulfurine, and we can make pyrite from gold and oxygen. And now all we have to do is make 100 cactus flesh. Let's do a quick recap. Of our list of ingredients, we have 300 frost crystal, 200 selenium, 100 cactus flesh, 200 star bulb, 400 gamma root, 500 radon, 500 sulfurine, 50 paraffinium, 50 phosphorus, 50 dioxide. We still need 300 condensed carbon, 500 nitrogen, 50 fecium, and 150 ionized cobalt. Let's start at the top with condensed carbon, because that's going to be super easy. We have 479 standard carbon. We have no condensed carbon. So first we'll need to refine that and then clone it. I am now curious, what happens if we do the clone with all of the slots full? Oh, that's interesting. It cloned the output. Oh, inventory full. That's fine. We can just swap this out. We don't actually need to pick it up. All right, so we actually killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. We created 75 condensed carbon, but then we cloned the refiner and we were able to pick up 150. So now we only have to dupe it once. Nitrogen we can get from radon at a rate of 3:1. So we'll just make 1 and then duplicate that. And there's our 500 nitrogen. Fecium we can get from nitrogen and sulfurine. I think what I'm gonna do, just to save time, is dupe all of the nitrogen. I have the minimum that I need, but if I double that, and if I double the sulfurine, then I can just refine the 50 fecium that I need. The last thing that we need is ionized cobalt, and for that we need to find a cave. Caves are one of those things that you seem to always find when you're not actually looking for them, but if you're looking for them, you can never find them. What I like to do is find a building. It was literally like right there and did not need me to fly over to it. There's something about the flattening of terrain by buildings that result in caves appearing, especially in mountainous areas. If we look around here, though this isn't very mountainous, I'm hoping that we'll find a cave. This is a mutant plant. This was another option for where we could have gotten one of our resources. In this case, radon. Kind of cool that we just found one on its own. Now if we can only find a cave. The reason we need a cave is because we need cobalt. And cobalt is one of the few ingredients in the game that you can't make with other ingredients. Okay, after much running around, I finally located a cave. Inside of here, we will have cobalt. We also have cave marrow, which has a unique relationship with cobalt that will allow us to make more of it faster, assuming we can find enough cave marrow for it to matter. All right, we have enough cobalt to get us started. So let's get out of here and ionize that stuff. And that's a 2-to-5 ratio, which will give us 200 ionized cobalt if we actually wait for all of it to process. We only need 150. We now have all of the components and ingredients and bits that we need to make a single stasis device. Stasis device is the most expensive item. There's a second item that also costs the same amount, but the two of them are the most expensive items in the game at 15.6 million units. Before we make them, we want to make sure that we have space in our inventory. So I'm going to move a bunch of stuff out of here that I don't need. And hopefully that's enough. Otherwise, we'll just have to start throwing stuff on the ground. If we come over and look at a stasis device and view the crafting steps, it will tell us what we need to build it up from the bottom. All right. And now we have one stasis device. There it is right there. And what are we going to do with it? We're going to make it even more awesome. And then there were two. Keep doing this until you fill your entire inventory with stasis devices. Remember that you can only do 10 per slot. So that's going to fill up pretty quickly depending on how much space you have. Keep one 10 slot, or if you have a storage container, keep a 20 slot of stasis devices so that you can just clone them as many times as you need. And after this next time, we will end up with a 10 pack, and that's what we're going to continue to clone until our inventory is full. From here on out, we just clone them 10 at a time, and we don't have to pick up the second refiner. We just need to take a look inside of it and then clone it again. If you don't look inside of it, it doesn't clone. It looks like I can do this one more time unless I start throwing more stuff on the ground, which, you know, I can certainly do. We don't need that salt. We don't need a lot of this stuff anymore because our objective was solely to collect these items to make stasis devices. So we don't need selenium. We don't need starbulb. These slots are much better served with stasis devices. We don't need sulfurine. We don't need cobalt anymore. So keep doing this until your inventory is full, and then head over to a space station and sell all of this for millions and millions of credits. And when you want more money, clone more stasis devices, make more money. We also did this with Oblivion, so if you want to see how to clone stuff in Oblivion and get rich fast, watch this video right now. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Oskapt, and until next time, woo-wee, make more money.